A few weeks ago, Father Mike shared with you one of his cute hospital stories that had absolutely nothing to do with the gospel. My joke. I just finished visiting a parishioner up in the hospital, and I went to the elevator to leave. And as I was standing there waiting, two nurses rolled up a hospital bed with a woman in it. So as the door opened for the elevator, I stepped back, allowing them to bring the bed on, and I was going to wait for the next elevator. But just as I stepped back, the woman lifted her head off the pillow and looked at me. She didn't know me from Adam. But she goes, "Oh, Father, you're going up. I'm certainly going down." I hope she made it through the operation. We hear a very profound statement in the end of our gospel reading this morning. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before all, so that people may see the good that you do and give glory and honor to God. I don't know if you've ever thought of it or ever realized that the most powerful evangelistic tool the church has in spreading the good news is you. We have a wonderful Pope, a beautiful church, and a beautiful structure. But far more people have been converted to the faith by seeing examples of people who live the faith than by all the church documents that have ever been written. Why? Because when we were baptized, we had the light of Christ instilled in our hearts to be kept burning brightly. And when we, as Christians, live according to gospel morals and values, and not cultural morals and values, then the light of Christ shines brightly, and it draws people to God. Because people look at that, and they become envious of the relationship that we have with the Lord, and they desire to have that same kind of relationship. And I say that because I speak from experience. As most of you know now, said many times, when I was married, I was not baptized or part of any faith experience at all. And one of the many things that drew me to my wife was her faith. She was a woman whose faith was very deep and still is to this day. She lived a life of joy. She had this sense of peace. She had this sense of strength. And when times became difficult, she was strong in the way that she handled it and relied on her faith to get her through. And that's what I wanted in my life. Her light shined brightly, and it led me to a relationship with God. It led me to standing here preaching at you this morning. It's all her fault. If you don't like what I have to say, blame her. There's a powerful witness, and each one of us has that capability. That when we go out in our world to live our life on a day-to-day basis, whether it be in school, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be in Market Basket or Hannaford's, wherever, we are shining for the light of Christ. And we can be that witness to people whom we may not even realize are even observing what we do or listening to what we say. We can have or be that kind of powerful witness. But you know, there's always two sides to a coin, huh? Yes, we can be that powerful witness to God, drawing people to God by the way we live our lives and what we do and what we say. But you know, the opposite can be true too. We can be here every weekend, And yet, our behavior on the outside betrays what we do when we're here on Sunday. And that when people see us on the outside and see the way we act or hear the things we say, they become confused because it doesn't jive with what they see of us and see what we do on the weekends. And so we become a source of confusion, a source of disillusionment. And for those who are on the cusp of believing or not, they may say, hey, that's hypocritical. I don't want any religion. I don't want that kind of relationship. And there we have to be careful. I know, because I did it. Back in the, I think it was 1818. The mind is the first to go. Back in 1989, or 1990, it was one of those 2 years, I bought myself a little sports car. Always wanted one. It was a little black car, what I can remember of now. Had a convertible. Always wanted a convertible. Had all the latest with bells and whistles, you name it. I was so happy, so proud of it. I drove it to work here for my very first day. Now, this is back before the Parish Center was built, and we had our offices over the rectory, which has a big glass door that goes into the basement where the offices were. And sure enough, as I drove into the driveway with my top down and my hair and breeze, Father Tom Bresnahan was standing there in the door. And so I get out of the car with a big smile on my face, and he comes walking up. Though I prepared to show him all the neat things that I just bought. He looks at the car, and he looks at me, and he goes, inappropriate. For you, inappropriate. And I was stunned. He turned around, followed me. And he went in, took me into his office, and for the next 45 minutes explained to me why my choice of this car was inappropriate. We as Christians have a responsibility to the world to live the Christian life of simplicity and detachment. That we are to live according to the values and the morals of our gospel, not the values and morals of our culture. We're not to live on material possessions or in power or in prestige, but to live simply and humbly before our God. And especially being someone who works in the church, we're to model that faith and to model that style of living, because that's the message we preach week in and week out, and that's what we believe in. And that the message I was sending with that car was completely opposite of what we preach each weekend. I have become a source of confusion, a source of disillusionment to people when they hear one thing and they see another. This coming from a man, after being here 25 years, left with one suitcase to his name. He never rode in that car. And all the times we brought people communion, we always took his car. I swore my next mode of transportation was going to be a horse and carriage. You know the kicker is, I had a 5-year loan on this thing. I brought my wife's Toyota to work more times than I can imagine. Left it home. Yes, that's a powerful lesson. I keep it to this day. I still can feel the sting 30 years later. But it was a powerful lesson. But you know, I had another experience just 3 or 4 months ago that was just as transformative as that was. I had a young woman come to me in the office one day, and she was very upset and in tears. and she is of Mexican descent. Her parents moved here from Mexico, came legally. She was born here in the United States, but she was obviously, in appearance, very much Mexican. And she was at a party here locally. And during the course of the evening, the conversation turned toward what was happening in the primaries, in the mainstream political stuff that was on TV, and all the things that were being said about people of her particular race. And she became very nervous and upset. And as the evening went on, the conversation became even more heated and mean-spirited. And these were people she knew. To finally get to the point where she felt no longer comfortable or even welcome to be there. And she got up and left in tears and went home crying. And she says, you know, Deacon, she said, that was a very painful experience. I never thought I would experience that in this country. But she said, you know what made it even worse? Is that some of the people at that party were parishioners here at St. Mark's Parish. People who go to Mass every weekend, because I see them. I was devastated, absolutely devastated. I never would have believed in 1,000 years that anyone from this parish would have acted that way towards someone who we might consider a minority. I was ashamed. I apologized on behalf of the parish, but that certainly wasn't enough. And I thought about Father Tom B. I think if Father Tom was here today, you know what he would have said? Inappropriate. Not for you. Inappropriate. Now, granted, we all do our best to be the light of Christ and to live our lives according to good gospel morals and values in deed and in word. And sometimes we don't do a good job, and sometimes we fail. But as baptized Christians, we owe it to the world, if you will, to be the very best witnesses we possibly can be. That our light shines forth very brightly by the way we live our life and by the way we conduct our conversations. So at the end of the day, we can hope and we can pray that someone who heard us or seen us out in daily life was attracted to God through what they saw and are willing to begin a relationship with God. We are the most powerful witness to Christ in the world. So may our light always shine bright, always be a draw to people who are in need of a relationship